Good morning, Knicks Nation. It is Monday, the 5th of October, 2020. Hope you're all safe and healthy in this COVID environment that we're in. And those of you blessed to have employment, congratulations. Hope you're doing well in your jobs. I'm going to do this video this morning very quickly because I am working and I have a lot of work to do today. But I wanted to touch base this morning on Tom Thibodeau. I want to talk about what can we expect realistically from Tom Thibodeau as the New York Knicks head coach. Number one, as Knicks fans, we've been through this dance many times. It's almost like we've been married multiple times. We have a honeymoon with a coach. We have hopes for the coach. Something goes wrong and the coach gets fired. Now, oftentimes in the past, this has happened before the coach has really had a chance to put his own imprint on a team. A coach needs an opportunity to do that. Like, for example, most recently we had Mike Woodson get fired. Mike Woodson basically coached 2.5 seasons, maybe not even that, a little over 2 seasons, and never had an opportunity to really put his imprint on the New York Knicks. And yet he did a fantastic job while he was here. The last winning coach that we had was Mike Woodson. But other than that, like guys like Jeff Hornacek. Now, I'm not saying good or bad about Jeff Hornacek, but he never had a chance to put his style, the style that he developed in Phoenix when he coached them to like a 40-something win season and nobody was expecting them to be that good. And he had his imprint on that team. Now, he had some issues, but he didn't get a chance to do that in New York before he was fired. Same with Lenny Wilkins, same with Larry Brown. Same with a number of coaches that have come through New York that never had the opportunity to really put their imprint on the team. The last time I think we've actually allowed that to happen was with Pat Riley. And then he left to go to Miami because he wanted more power. And then because the imprint of Pat Riley was already on the team, Jeff Gundy and then Tom Thibodeau were understudies or disciples of Pat Riley, and they continued with that style of play that Riley had developed here in New York. And then, of course, we know Jeff Van Gundy abruptly resigned as coach in the middle of a season. So we really haven't allowed a coach to develop their own imprint, whatever that might be. So now with Tom Thibodeau, we know what Tom Thibodeau, like on the periphery, brings to the table. We're going to get defense. Now, as Knicks fans, one of the things that's bothered me, I'll put it this way, and maybe some of you, one of the things that annoyed me is that many times, ever since Woodson left, it's the last time we've had good defense, but I hate having one player do a fast break on our team or having a fast break being run and only 1 or 2 players are back on defense. The best teams, for example, now you have in the finals Miami against LA, against LeBron and them, against the Lakers. And LeBron is known to have to take off and run a fast break at 6'9", 260, 270 pounds. He's like a train wreck. He's hard to stop and he's quick, so he can avoid offensive fouls. And if he's going at full speed downhill, it's very difficult to stop. You might foul him and he'll still hit the basket, right? Well, what Miami was doing and what Denver tried to do, and they did it somewhat successfully, but what they tried to do is they create a wall. In other words, first of all, you have to sprint back. And then you have to have 2 guys on LeBron when he has the ball to create a wall to get him to give the ball up or at least slow his forward progress. But in order to even begin to do that, you got to have the guys back. And so you see 5 guys, 4 guys sprinting back on defense every time on the better teams. You know, your Torontos, your Miamis, your Denvers, your LAs. You see guys sprinting back so that the opposing team cannot have an unimpeded fast break. Well, you know, against the Knicks, since Woodson left, we've had guys like Ish Smith and, McConnell, guys that are scrubs, guys that, and they can do 1-man or 2-man fast breaks against us because we're not getting back. That's just bad coaching, period. Under Tom Thibodeau, you're not going to see that. You're going to see guys sprinting back on defense, and that's going to be a welcome sight. You're going to see him employ players that are high IQ and good one-on-one defenders. Okay. He'll have some exceptions, like when he had to Derrick Rose, because Rose was such a tremendous offensive force. But generally, a Luol Deng, a Joakim Noah, a Carlos Boozer, a Kirk Heinrich, a Jimmy Butler, he's going to have guys that are going to be good one-on-one defenders. And then, of course, they must be able to play high IQ team defense. Now, in the combine, if you see the NBA combine, one of the drills they use is a shuttle drill. You ever see the shuttle drill? Like they're running in a square. They're shuttling. It's like they're like a squirrel scampering from one corner to another, and they time them in this. This is a reflection of defense. That's what it is. So guys have to scamper, shuttle quickly from one position to another, and they have to know where they're supposed to be on the defensive end of the floor. And there's usually it's the center, the 5 guy. He's calling out where everybody's supposed to be, and he's calling out where the plays are developing, so players know where to go. You need a lot of communication, a lot of high IQs on defense. You're going to see that with Tom Thibodeau. He's not going to be playing guys that don't know where they are, okay, and don't get to their spots. So you're going to see one-on-one defenders. You're going to see high IQ team defense. You're going to see them sprinting back on defense. And as a matter of fact, one of Tom Thibodeau's hallmarks is that his players must run. They run a lot. He's not going to be having loafering players out there, which means like even offensively. That's another thing I'm going to be looking forward to seeing. What we've been seeing, even under Woodson, unfortunately, what we were seeing is you'd see a guy set up on the strong side of the basketball court, and they're generally doing either a one-on-one or a 2-man game. And the other 3 guys are on the weak side, standing and watching. That's terrible offense. So what Woodson had is he had a tremendous offensive force in Carmelo Anthony in his prime. So he would just set Melo up to run a 2-man game with somebody, and then you'd have other guys just standing around, watching. And what that does is allows the defense to relax and allows them to shade toward the 2 guys, and it makes it difficult. Now, a great offensive player can overcome that, but it's just inefficient offense. Okay. Under Thibodeau, what you see with his Bulls teams, I didn't look at a lot with his Minnesota Timberwolves stuff, but I looked at a lot of Bulls stuff. What you saw with the Bulls teams is they had the 2 guys playing the 2-man game on one side of the floor, but you had cutters. You had the other 3 guys cutting and moving without the basketball, so that the defenders have to pay attention to the cutters. And if they don't, a cutter could be open, and while the guy's playing a 2-man game, they can find a cutter. So that's what you have. You have at least 2 or 3 guys cutting all the time off the ball. And that is really good offense. And then you combine that with ball movement, and you have a really good offense, which is why when Derrick Rose went down with his knee injury the following season, I think they still won over 50 games, because if you know that system and you're willing to work to run, in your NBA player, you can make it work. And Thibodeau did. Okay. So those are things you're going to see. You're going to see guys sprinting back on defense. You're going to see high IQ defenders. You're going to see good one-on-one defenders, and you're going to see ball movement and player movement off the ball. These are really good things. That's what you're going to see from him. And that's why his players have to be in shape, which brings me to the next point. He's going to, now, his legend, apparently in my mind, maybe outdid what he actually does. Because I was looking at his various teams from 2010 through on to when he played at Minnesota. And really, he plays about 9 guys. He really plays about 9 guys. He plays, like I'm looking at, I think this is 2012 Chicago Bulls. And this is typical. Deng averaged 39 minutes a game. Joakim Noah averaged 37. Boozer averaged 32. Heinrich averaged 29. Jimmy Butler averaged 26. Then you had Bellinelli averaging 26 and Nate Robinson playing 25. And Nate Robinson was coming off the bench most of the time. And Taj Gibson also was coming off the bench and played 22 minutes a game. Then he had Richard Hamilton playing 22 minutes a game. Now, a lot of times he plays 9 guys. If you see him play 10 or more, it's because guys get hurt, which they do. And we'll get to that in a minute, which guys do get hurt playing under Tom Thibodeau. And so, and that's one of the risks that we're going to be talking about in a second. But he generally does play 9 players. He generally does. And so you're going to see your starting 5 get a lot of minutes, but he's going to have, 4 other guys get minutes as well. And then if somebody's hurt, obviously there's going to be other people getting minutes aside from the starting 5. Matter of fact, what I'm looking at here, Deng started 75 games that year. Joakim Noah started 64. Boozer started 79. Heinrich started 60, but then it drops off. Butler only started 20 games that year. Bellinelli started 27. Nate Robinson started 23. Hamilton started 45 out of 50 games. So people got hurt and people stepped in, as starters at times. So you're going to see that as well. Which brings me now to the negatives. Now, he is known, Tom Thibodeau that is, to wear out his players. Now, many people look at like the minutes I quoted and say, well, he's playing his players too many minutes. But this is just me. But my theory is, it's not the minutes in the games. I don't believe that's hurting the players. I believe it's his practices. See, because one of the other things that's a positive about Thibodeau is the guy is prepared. He has his teams prepared. And part of that preparation is very difficult practices. Now, I don't know if the practices need to be difficult for players to be prepared, but I believe that the difficult practices and then you add the games compound that to really wear down a player's body. So if he's going to change, and this is the thing is also, I'm not buying into him changing too much. A guy's going to do what they do. A leopard cannot change his spots. A guy's going to do what he does, right? What he's comfortable doing, what he knows to do. Now, I'm sure he's very much aware because he's been asked about wearing down his players. He's been asked about that. So I'm thinking he's probably going to lighten up on the practice load in terms of the hard work they do in practice and probably just go through preparation in terms of what to prepare for the upcoming opponent rather than run his guys into the ground in practice. I don't think the games are killing him. I think it's the practice that's killing him. And so, I think you're going to see some hard practices leading up to the season because he's going to find out what he has in these guys this year. He really is. We see all these guys doing videos, how they working out or whatever. We're going to see because Thibodeau is going to put them through the ringer, in training camp. There is no question. And so, the negative side, I think is wearing out players. And I think it's his hard practices. I think it's the practices plus the minutes in the game. If he was a little bit easier on the practices and then kept the game thing, I think he'd be all right. I don't think you're going to see RJ Barrett playing 36 minutes a game, 37 minutes a game. You're going to see that. That's going to happen. And if Mitchell Robinson, we're going to see, he's going to play Mitchell Robinson some minutes. And if the kid wears out, he just wears out. That's what's going to happen. And you're going to see Taj Gibson in there or whoever's backing him up at the 5. You're going to see that. So I can see if they keep a Kevin Knox, even if he's not starting, he's going to get some opportunity to see what he's got this year. So will Frank. So will Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know. I'm hoping they don't, but they might keep Julius Randle. If they do, I can see Julius Randle becoming Carlos Boozer in this situation because their games were very similar. Boozer, I think, had a higher IQ than Randle. At least he displayed it as a player, higher IQ, but build-wise, style-wise, very similar, Carlos Boozer and Julius Randle. So I can see Randle playing the Boozer role in Tom Thibodeau's schemes, both defensively and offensively. And then Jimmy Butler, of course, I can see RJ playing that role as well. So, negatives, he's hard on his players. He runs them hard. You can bet your bomb down he's going to get the most out of whoever's playing for him. That's for sure. Another negative you're going to notice is during the game. And I noticed this whenever the Knicks played the Bulls. You're going to hear him all game. Like he's barking all game. Barking all game. And he's barking mostly at his own players. Like he's shouting stuff. He's barking all game long. Okay. You're gonna see, and I don't know how the fans are gonna react to it. I don't even know how the players are gonna react to it. But that's going to happen. I remember I remember some opposing coaches even said, "Man, you can hear him going all." It was driving them crazy. So and the thing about him overall, basketball is this guy's life. Really is. Basketball is his life, and he's putting his every ounce of energy into this game of NBA basketball. That's what he's going to do. Okay. He's not going to be laid back, taking it easy, David Fizdale. This is the complete opposite. This guy's going to be hard. Okay? And that's why I'm saying he don't like playing a lot of rookies. Because he wants to bark out instructions, and he wants those instructions followed to the T. And pros know, what to do, generally, veterans. Whereas rookies got to learn. That's what I'm saying. Y'all talking about, what's these guys? Kyra Lewis? I don't think so, y'all. I don't think so. See, at least with Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina, they're in their fourth year. They're not rookies. Now, they may not have been developed right, but they've been in the NBA for 4 years now. Okay, so he's gonna lean hard on these guys. I don't see him like bringing in a Kyra Lewis or even a LaMelo Ball and putting up with all that. This cat not playing. And if you see him in his huddles, I saw a couple of videos where they did his huddles. They had him in the huddle. You know what he kept saying? Keep running, run. That's all he was saying. Cause he ain't having it, man. He's not having it. So, yeah. I'm as a basketball purist, which I consider myself a purist. I like to see the ball move. I like to see guys get tough on defense. I like to see good basketball plays, back cuts, give and goes, pick and rolls we know about already. I like to see the ball move where there's open, easy shots. I like to see easy shots on the break because the ball moves through the air quicker and we get an easy layup. I like stuff like that. Smart basketball, the way the Knicks used to play when Clyde and Bill Bradley and them used to play. They used to play smart basketball, man. And so that we're going to see. Now, the negatives, we're going to see negatives. You're going to see people complaining about him running RJ into the ground, shortening RJ's career. You know what, man? These kids 19 and 20 years old, run them, man. That's all I'm saying. It's time for us to get tough, man. That's all. We've been soft too long. It's time to bring back that toughness. I, for one, am looking forward to it. I want to see it. So overall, whoever's on the team, whoever's here. See, this is the good thing too. He's not the president anymore. So he's not have to make trades and all that. He's not making those decisions. That's Leon Rose and Scott Perry. They're making those decisions. I'm sure he will have some input, but he's not making any final decisions. His focus is on the team, on running who he's got out there. They're giving him the ingredients and he's cooking the food. And I'm saying whoever's there better be ready to play. Because this cat ain't having it. So on the positive side, you're going to see running, lots of movement, offensively, defensively. Players got to be in shape. He's going to have smart IQ, high IQ defenders. He's going to run offensive sets where he's not only having the ball playing a 2 or 3 man game, he's going to have off ball movement and cutters. Excellent. He's going to play, he's going to play his top 5 players, heavy minutes, 30 plus minutes. And then he's going to have another 4 players where they're going to get in the 20 to 25 minute range. And he's going to keep doing that every single night. And so, this is what you can expect. I don't want to jinx our Knicks, but I'll say, like I keep saying, if it was an 82 game schedule, which is not, but I'm saying the equivalent of an 82 game schedule, I would like to see 35 wins. That would be a welcome sight compared, 20 and 17 that we've been getting, 19, 20, 17 wins. 35 would be good at the first year. But really in my heart, I'm expecting him to make this team overachieve a little bit. Like, I really would like to see 42 wins. I'm just saying. I really would like to see 42 wins. But I will be very happy with 35, the equivalent of 35. If they play 60 games, whatever the 35 game equivalent is, if it's 25 or 26 games, whatever that equivalent is of an 82 game schedule, which would be about 35. And if they got to 500 and got 40, I'm happy, because this is the first year. This is what I'm saying. Let's let this man have his 5 years. Let's let somebody have 5 years. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when's the last time a coach in New York actually played out their contract? I think it was probably Van Gundy. If he did it, he might have been the last guy to do it, to actually play out his coaching contract. Because nobody lasts here, and it's partly the management, and it's partly the media, and it's partly the fans. Fire whoever coach name you want to put. Fire Hornacek. Fire, fire D'Antoni. Fire with D'Antoni was the lack of defense, because his team didn't play any defense. He tried to outscore you, and the fans in New York was fire D'Antoni. Anytime losing streak, fire D'Antoni. You're going to get winning streaks. You're going to get losing streaks in the NBA. That's just the way it is. But, I just want this guy to play out his 5 years and see what happens. If we allow him to play his 5 years out, I think we're going to be very happy with him. You might see some players get wrecked. You might see some knees get destroyed. You might see that. But overall, the Knicks are going to be in the conversation as Eastern Conference contenders. And that's what we want. All right. So tell me what y'all think. That's what I think we can expect from Tom Thibodeau. I'm excited about it. I'm really looking forward to even just training camp. Let's just get this thing rolling. I'm tired of all these daggone rumors, man. Rumors about every player in the league coming to New York and everybody getting traded. Enough with the rumors. Let's get this thing on the road. I'm looking forward to the draft. Here we are at the end, in early October, month and a half from now, draft is here. So I'm looking forward to that. So tell me what y'all think. Shalom.